Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Agent Psycho, and today I'm bringing you guys the third episode of the Sniper Arsenal, or the reviews of part of the Exploring the Arsenal series that covers the sniper rifles. And this time we're going to be looking into the NX standard variant of the M24 family called the M24A3. So without further ado, let's get started. So to kick off the review, let's discuss the real-life M24A3, which was developed again by Remington, just like how they developed the original M24. And according to Remington, the M24A3 is actually called the M24A3 SWS. The SWS is meaning Sniper Weapon Systems, basically an acronym. And basically, the M24A3 SWS is technically an upgraded version of the M24, because the M24 in real life fires the 7.62 by 51mm NATO cartridge, which is pretty standard for a lot of NATO high-powered marksman rifles, such as the M14, the DMR, other weapons that fire the same cartridge. So the 7.62 by 51mm is actually pretty common as far as NATO, designated marksman rifles are concerned, and sometimes sniper rifles, as with the case of the M24. However, the M24A3, on the other hand, it fires a much higher caliber, which is technically 8.58 by 70mm, which, if you guys are gun nerds, you would recognize that as the 338 Lapua Magnum round. This is a much bigger round than the original M24, which fires the 7.62 by 51mm. So, as you guys can probably tell. So, yeah, the M24A3 does fire a much heavier bullet, which makes sense because in-game, in combat arms, the M24A3 does 9 points more damage. Kind of makes sense. Unfortunately, the real-life M24 and the M24A3 only come with 5-round box magazines. So the fact that in combat arms, when you use M24 or M24A3, the fact that they come with a 7-round box magazine is realistically incorrect. Maybe they do have 7-round box magazines out there in real life, but for the most part, the standard conventional ammunition count for the M24s was only 5, or is only 5-round box magazines, not 7. One thing that's very interesting about the real-life M24A3 is the fact that it also comes with emergency backup iron sights. Apparently, the M24A3 is manufactured to have a detachable front and rear backup iron sights, so that literally, if you're basically carrying this around in a real-life combat scenario and you get caught with your pants down, somewhere in an urban environment, and you don't have time to switch to your sidearm or to call for a backup anywhere around you, then you can actually use your sniper rifle for a close quarters engagement rifle. Literally, I mean, it's not practical, but the fact that it does have backup iron sights available for you on its rail, on its Picatinny rail, I think it's called, is very, very interesting. And I think that, hey, that's really, really cool, because most sniper rifles don't have that, I don't think, anyway. So that's enough for the real-life components of the M24A3. Let's move on to the actual in-game statistics of the M24A3. Now let's talk about the stats of the M24A3, and more specifically, how they compare to the original M24. The M24A3 has a damage of 97, a portability of 45, rate of fire of 13, accuracy of 100, and recoil of 60. Now, if we were to compare this directly to the original M24, we'll see that really the major buff that the M24A3, actually the only buff that the M24A3 receives, is in its most important category, the damage. The damage has been increased by 7 points, as you guys can probably tell, from 90 to 97. So obviously, right away, that makes the M24A3 much, much better for actual sniping combat, as opposed to the M24, where you literally cannot one-shot anything if they are at full health. Maybe if they are at maybe if they're a light vester and they've been nicked once, maybe they take 2 fall damage, then only then can you get a one-shot kill. But typically speaking, you're not going to come across people like that unless they've already been lit. The M24A3 is much more forgiving in the fact that it will basically one-shot with the damage of 97, and given how sniper modifiers work in combat arms, a damage of 97 will net you a one-shot kill on most light and recon vesters. Sometimes you can one-shot medium vesters if given circumstances and maybe a few lag issues. I'm not really quite too sure. Lag is always a weird thing, but Sometimes you can get a one-shot kill on medium vesters. Most of the time, though, it should be a two-shot kill. And obviously for tankers and heavy vesters, yeah, don't even think about it. So, with that in mind, the damage, though, is significantly buffed from the original M24, obviously making it a lot better. Surprisingly, though, the rate of fire on the M24A3, according to Commander's Wiki, has been decreased by 2 points, and why they would do that, not really too sure why. I mean, it's a bolt-action sniper rifle. It does still fire faster than your original L96A1, but, you know, rate of fire isn't really what the M24s are known for. Neither are you know, any other bolt-action sniper rifle out there. So the fact that they would nerf the rate of fire on the M24A3 as opposed to the M24, the original one, is kind of strange. But oh well, it doesn't really bother, and it doesn't affect the M24A3's performance at the end of the day, because rate of fire is not really what you're looking for in a bolt-action sniper rifle. Maybe that's what you're looking for in a automatic or semi-automatic sniper rifle, but definitely not for something like the M24A3. As for the other non-statistical aspects of the M24A3, most of the animations are actually all the animations are basically the same with the as with the M24. You know, your draw animation, your reload animation, everything is basically the same. So it should feel exactly the same as you would using an M24. However, because the M24A3 does provide a physical difference in that the scope on the M24A3 is somehow elongated, like twice the length as the original M24 scope, it might feel a little bit different running around with M24, the original one, but for the most part, you should feel the exact same way when you're using M24A3 as you would using the M24. Ammunition count for the M24A3 is the same as the original M24 at 7 rounds per magazine and 21 rounds in reserve, and just like the original M24A3 or the original M24, you can attach either silencers or magazine modifications on your M24 or M24A3. Sorry. However, the difference here is that because M24A3 has a much better chance of one-shotting light vesters and medium vesters, the fact that you can attach a silencer on it doesn't really help, because, as you guys all know, if you put a silencer on your gun, it takes away 10% of your damage output. So, if you're to do that on the M24A3, then you literally cannot one-shot anything. It's basically like you're using a slightly stronger M24, but you still can't one-shot anything anyway. So I heavily do not recommend you putting a silencer on your M24A3, because you might as well just go around using M24 silenced anyway. And even then, if you were to use a silenced M24, that might compromise your ability to one-shot people to the back. So, yeah, not too great. The silencers don't really work too well with the M24 series, clearly. So, there you guys go. Hello everyone, welcome to the M24A3 weapon testing. This time, as you guys probably already know the drill, we're going to be testing the no-scoping ability and the hipfire spread of the M24A3. So, here we go. So that's the hipfire spread at close range. So now let's see what it can do at a long range over here. So if you ignore the other guys' W2000A1 tactical shots, then you guys could probably get a good idea of the hipfire spread of the M24A3. It seems pretty similar to the original M24, but then again, it's a bolt-action sniper rifle, so you probably shouldn't be going around no-scoping with this. As you guys could probably tell from the rate of fire, though, I was firing at its maximum rate of fire. I was basically clicking as fast as I could, and for me anyway, I could definitely tell that the M24A3 does fire slightly slower than the original M24. In fact, you could probably bring up the M24 reviews and put this video and M24 weapon testing videos side by side. Yeah, why did I say that? But anyways, you could probably put them side by side, and you could probably tell that the M24A3 does indeed fire a little bit slower. So the stats on Commander's Wiki is, I guess, telling the truth. I mean, sometimes they script stats, but this time I guess they've got it right. And yeah, basically that's the hipfire weapons testing, and I have Asian Creation dancing in background. So this is going to be the identification test for the M24A3's sniper rifle scope style and zoom-in speed. So here we go. So as you can see, the scope and speed is basically the same as the original M24's. It's very fast. And if we were to zoom in and hold it in place, As you can see, the idle sway is also very minimal as well. Basically, it's like the M24, or its original M24 variant, where both the scope style, the zoom level, the scope and speed, and the idle sway are basically all exactly identical. If not, if not a little bit different, but if there is a difference, I can't even notice it. So there you go. Alright boys, this is going to be the weapons testing, the damage test of the M24A3. So, as you guys probably know, the M24A3 does have 97 damage. This means that, theoretically speaking, you should be able to one-shot light vests to the chest. However, what now on the left-hand side has a medium vest, so we're going to see if the M24A3 does one-shot him to the chest with M24A3. So here we go. That's a one-shot. Now, what about what now? It is indeed a one-shot. So, but keep in mind that obviously they are at pretty close range, so that could mean that there is a kind of a flaw with M24A3's damage testing. So, what we're going to do now here is go ahead and do this. I'm going to make him stand on the opposite end of the map so we can have as much distance between us as possible. And I'll go all the way over to the other side of the map and I'll shoot him from here. It still does one shot. So, as you guys can see, the M24A3 should be able to one-shot people at that distance, even if they're full HP and if they have medium vest. At long ranges, though, it might be different, so just keep that in mind. So, now I've got our test dummy here, Asian Creation, go get a heavy vest. Now, let's see if the M24A3 can one-shot heavy vest to the front here. Nope, can't. Still alive with 14 HP, so if you have a heavy vest, you are basically immune to the M24A3. That's to one-shots anyway. So I'm going to have him come back here, and we'll shoot in the back, and we'll see if that allows you to get a one-shot with the M24A3 sniper rifle. Alright. And it does. So, the M24A3 can one-shot any vest except for the heavy vest, but no one is immune to the back shot, which apparently in Common Arms there is a multiplier. And he says, shoot me, so I go. Anyways, thanks for the testing. We will see you guys later. So, I've got the M24A3 fully customized. For the M24A3, unlike the other M24 variants, you can actually customize every single aspect, the piston, barrel, and the trigger. Now, the only real important customization that you want to have is the piston, because it actually increases your damage. So, because in the last test, the M24A3 that I used was uncustomized, it didn't one-shot Asian Creation to the front, who has a heavy vest, in one shot. So now that it's customized, let's see if it can one-shot him to the front now. Nope, still can't. But it does deal 4 more damage, so considering how you look at it, I mean, it does do a bit more damage. Not gonna lie, but it's still not gonna kill him in one shot. As for the medium vest, however, if he'll stand still. Whoops. He dodged it! Right. But, there you go. I mean, that's really the only customization effect test that we should ever do, because the M24A3 already has perfect accuracy anyway, so buffing the accuracy probably won't do much for you, because it's a sniper rifle. And as for the rate of fire, I mean, we could go ahead and test the rate of fire here real quick. Doesn't sound any faster. This dude's standing on top of me. Yep, see? I shot him point blank and he's still at 11 HP. So you guys have it. That's the customization effects, the testing for the customization effects on the M24A3. Hope you guys have enjoyed. I think, yeah. Still one shots, medium vesters though. So, this should conclude the testing. So a few last notes about the M24A3. The M24A3, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't really have any special quirks that are very notable. The M24 had one because of its very low damage. The fact that it can still one-shot people to the back is rather surprising, but then again, Combat Arms does act on a, if you shoot someone in the back, you will gain extra damage modifiers kind of basis. So that's, at the same time, it's not really that surprising, but because the M24A3 should be strong enough to one-shot anyone to the back anyway, that's not really a quote-unquote quirk, because the M24 already has it, along with the Woodland. So that, and the quickscope viability of the M24A3 is just like this. It's just the same as the original M24s, just that it does it better, because now the M24A3 has a much better chance of one-shotting people properly if they're wearing either a light vest or a medium vest, as opposed to, if you were to try to quickscope with the M24, literally you'd have to be going for headshots every single time, unless like your enemy's already been like hurt a little bit, which isn't usually the case, especially if you're playing snipers only one in an army. Because of that, my personal opinions about the M24A3 is that it's not really the greatest sniper rifle you could use for, either quick scoping or just camping, sitting back and sniping people from a distance. It's not the best, clearly, because 97 damage is just not going to cut it for all your gunfights with the M24A3. It is much better than the M24, though. Don't get me wrong. It's just that, for all its buffs, it's like Nexon purposely made it so that it just barely doesn't reach where it should be to be an effective sniper rifle. It is, don't get me wrong, it might not be, I'm not trying to say that it's not an effective sniper rifle, it's just that compared to other sniper rifles out there that are guaranteed one-shot kills, or should be anyway, it's just the M24A3, there really isn't much of a use for it. Like, sniper rifles have a very niche role in combat arms, in that, you either take down someone one shot or you die every single time. It demands accuracy, especially if you're quickscoping, going around, doing all that shit. And for you to use a gun like the M24A3, or the M24 for that matter, you're basically giving yourself a handicap, because you don't know if your shot will actually kill them in one shot. Maybe if you're going up against a team of entirely light vest users, then, maybe the M24A3 isn't going to be that bad. But if you know for a fact that the entire enemy team is not using light vests and is instead running around, not having any vests at all, or they're using heavy vest or assault vest or any kind of vest that gives them more protection, there's really no point in using M24A3. I know that there's a lot of you out there who may be big fans of using M24A3 because it looks sexy, it fires sexy, and it just, overall, I would agree that it is a very sexy gun, but statistically speaking, it's not so sexy. It's just, you might as well use an M961 and have better success with that, as opposed to spending money for an standard sniper rifle that doesn't even one-shot all the time, It just doesn't make sense to me, and it shouldn't really make sense to you either. Unless you really like the gun, then that's your preference, and by all means, go ahead and use it to your heart's desire. But if you want to do well in any situation, in any game, M24A3, probably not the best sniper rifle for you out there. Definitely better than M24, but still just not good enough. As for my recommended playstyle and class setup, the M24A3, because of the fact that it has a much higher damage rating than the original M24, allows you to basically use the M24A3 much more aggressively. If you remember back to my original M24 review, in the playstyle recommendation section of that review, I recommended you guys to use the M24 very sneakily, to be a very active sniper if you want to go quick scoping, and either be a very accurate headshotter or be very sneaky with it and play extremely kind of like ninja style, where you can sneak up on people and shoot them one shot to the back, so you don't have to worry about putting two bullets into them, as opposed to just you could just walk up to them from behind and just shoot them in the back once and boom, you're done. The M24A3, however, you can play the exact same way as I recommended for the M24. However, because of the fact that, like I mentioned before, it has a much higher damage bonus, and thus with that brings it a much higher chance of one-shotting light and medium vesters, you can play much more aggressively. You don't have to worry about, what if I don't have to, or what if I can't act all sneaky and all the time. Then you don't have to worry about that as much with M24A3, because you can afford to engage people at directly head on and still have a good chance of one-shotting them if your aim's good enough. If it's just that you only need to worry about the people who are going around wearing a tanker vest or heavy vest or whatever. And if you see those people, then just shoot them and then pull out your pistol, which I recommend a very of low damage spammable pistol like a K5, a G23 or something like that, or a USB if you're comfortable with that, and just finish them off with a pistol whip. The M24A3, because it is a much higher damage sniper rifle, basically if you shoot anyone, they'll basically be one shot, no matter what kind of vest they're wearing. The good thing about the M24A3 is that unlike the M24, if you shoot someone with a tanker vest with the M24, typically speaking, they can get away with 10, maybe 20 HP if they're at like a good distance away. If you use the G23, chances are they might be able to tank that shot too, and they'll still be able to survive that, like a sniper shot, and a pistol shot. But with M24A3, basically you're putting everyone down to sub 10 HP. So any pistol bullet, whether it be your M92FS, your default pistol that is, or G23, anything can just take them out of one shot. So, like I said, the M24A3, you can use it just like the M24, or just like, as I recommended you use the M24, but you can use it much more aggressively. You can directly challenge people head on, and you don't really have to worry about ninjaing around the map as much. But it'd be nice if you could. It'd be nice if you could keep that in the back of your head too, because sometimes if you see heavy vesters, then you can just one shot them to the back as well, because hey, look, I got a much stronger M24, and I can one-shot people to the back no matter what kind of vest they're using. So that's what I recommend. That's how I recommend you guys use M24A3. Basically, a much more aggressive M24, in other words. So that's about it for the review. Thank you guys very much for watching, and as again, thanks for watching, and we will see you guys later with the next review in the series. Goodbye. Alrighty, so just to give some shoutouts to our test dummies here, Asian Creation on our right with the heavy vest, and What Now with the me invest in the snow camo. So any shoutouts? Any shoutouts? Anybody? Okay, I guess those are their shoutouts.